Before me.
The meeting of the Kuli'ou'ou Kalani Neighborhood Board will now come to order. Aloha mai kako. It's great to see everyone here, and thank you for being here and representing your community and your organization. It's really good to see such a crowded room. If we keep this up, we're going to have to find a bigger one. All right, let's get started. I'd first like to start with our city and state monthly reports, our first responders to begin with. May I have the Honolulu Fire Department representative come up? Good evening.
How's it going? My name is Jake Soares. I'm from the Wailupe station. So this month we had 1 structure fire, 8 activated alarms with no fire, 19 medical calls, 4 motor vehicle crashes, 2 mountain rescues, and 1 hazardous material incident. The fire safety tip this month is ensure you have an emergency preparedness plan in place for situations like environmental emergencies, fires, or natural disasters. Familiarize yourself with at least 2 escape routes from your home and plan an evacuation path if you must leave your neighborhood due to an emergency. For more information, visit fire.honolulu.gov. Leave early to avoid getting trapped by fire, smoke, or traffic delays. Set up a predetermined meeting spot like a trusted neighbor or relative's home, a low-risk area, a shelter, or evacuation center, and bring your emergency supply kit with essential items for your family and pets. If you have any questions, please email the HFD's Public Affairs and Media Liaison at hfdnhb@honolulu.gov.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Firefighter Soares. Are there any questions for our firefighters? We thank you so much for your service and thank you for coming here and giving your report.
No.
May I ask where the mountain rescues took place? Where was that up here in Wailupe?
There was one.
Wailaiki.
Yeah,
That one,
Wailaiki.
Wailaiki that we went to. What was it?
I don't know what the other one was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, one of our mountain rescues that we responded to was up on Wailaiki Ridge. And the helicopter actually helped the patient out, and we were just at the park to assist. And EMS came as well. Yeah. How many were there? Yeah, I'm not sure where the other one is. There's a lot on Cocoa Head, so a lot of times we get called for a landing zone to assist Hawaii Kai with that, and that kind of pops up on our stats as well.
Crazy people. No. Any questions on last call for our firefighters? Thank you so much for your service.
You guys have a good evening.
May we have a representative from the Honolulu Police Department? Would you please come up to the mic, sir? Hi.
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Nishimura, I'm representing District 7. The following are the statistics for the month of March. Motor vehicle theft, 2, burglary, 3, theft, 8, and UEMV or car break-ins, 1, with total calls for service, 6,194. My safety tip for the month, I'd like to provide some information on public alert and warning systems, and all of this information can be found on the City and County of Honolulu website. With the public alert and warning systems, there are 5 types. There's H&L Alert, official social media, emergency alert systems, wireless emergency alerts, and outdoor warning sirens. And of the 5, I'd just like to highlight briefly the newest one, H&L Alert, and that is an app for your phone. Again, you can find information on the City and County website, but through that app, you can get information on severe weather, emergency information, road closures, ocean conditions, water main breaks, and all kinds of other information relevant to what's going on the island, so you can keep updated and to the most recent activity and alerts of what's going on. You can also customize the information that you receive on that app. But that's our report for the month. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone have a question about H&L Alert, or has everyone signed up for it already? It's very useful. You'll be notified about any situation that you check off that you want to be notified about. Yes, Andrea, please come on up.
Just one question. If you had H&L info, does it carry over? Do you also need to sign up for H&L Alert?
That is a very good question. I know that that was the older system that they have. I would imagine they'd have to sign up for the new one. That would be my guess.
Thank you, sir. Yes, one question for you.
Yes, the district that you are responsible goes from where to where?
So District 7, we're also known for as the East Honolulu Patrol District. So we go from Punahou Street all the way out to about Makapu. So just about where the Makapu Lighthouse, the trail. So up there. So we cover all of Manoa, all of Mu'ili'ili down to the southern border. We'll be right at Kalani Boulevard. We go a little bit into just past that, a little bit into the Waikiki area, but that whole area so we would be on the Mauka side, of course, of the Alawai. So that's the cutoff on the south end, and then the north side is just we go all the way up into the mountains, all the way up Palolo Valley, up Wailaiki, and all the way up to Hawaii Kai.
So that stats you gave us is for that entire neighborhood then?
The total calls for service is is for the entire.
That was a lot of.
Yes, yeah, that is for the entire district. But the specific statistics that I provided for like the motor vehicle thefts and that is particularly for this area only. Yeah, thank you.
A question, one more question for you, sir. Please come up to the mic and introduce yourself.
Carl Cavallo. I live on Howe Street. My question is, so the substation out at Hawaii Kai is part of this district?
Yes.
And the substation on 22nd Avenue is part of this district?
Yes, but that's not a substation per se. Like it's that is an office for our investigators.
Are there any other substations in the district?
That's it.
That's it.
Other than the main station.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
One more question, sir. Kevin, please come up to the mic.
Kevin Mulkern, a Kuli'ou'ou resident. There's a Nextdoor app on the I don't know, internet, and one of the people was sharing that they had made police reports regarding people shooting at her cats with a pellet gun, but she was told that she needed to get vets, I guess, document stating that the cat was shot by a pellet gun before it would be considered animal cruelty. So, and then my neighbor who moved out of the area, I guess over the last 6 months has had, hard to believe, but 18 cats go missing. So I'm a little concerned that possibly there are people out there that are maybe not sensitive to animals. But the question is, if you feel your cat or animal has been shot with a pellet gun, do you need a vet to verify that before it's considered animal cruelty?
So that would be the most thorough way for us to move forward with the case, so we can say definitively that the animal was injured via this method versus, something else. I don't know, maybe jumping off the roof or something, getting injured by some kind of other random object. So that would be the most thorough way to do it. I won't say that you can't proceed forward without a vet. Could it may be possible that you could, which is depending on the circumstances. Maybe you may have a witness that observed the incident occur and can say, yes, that injury was caused by, this result. So, so I wouldn't say that you would absolutely have to in every circumstance. Would just depend case by case.
The tone of the comments on Nextdoor was that the woman's feeling was that the police didn't seem to take it as seriously as she did and wanted her to jump through some hoops before they would record it as animal cruelty. And she was disappointed that there were holes in her cats.
Yeah, so I would say if she would like to speak with another officer, then she can have someone come over and then you can have a further discussion about it and maybe go more over. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And with regards to the missing cats, I mean, you can again request an officer to come and speak to them, and they can try and investigate further and document whatever information you may have. It may also be that there could be they put out the the cages that people can get, the traps and get. So that could be another possibility where we may not have the information. That might have to be something that could be followed up with the Humane Society, because I would assume that that's where eventually the cats would end up. Yeah.
I do have one small little question. Since you cover all the way to the Makapu, I guess, Lighthouse Trail, where is the nearest bus stop? Because I see people and their families and children walking along the highway, which is very busy. And is Sea Life Park the closest bus stop, and the Hawaii Kai Golf Course? Because that seems very dangerous for people to actually walk across that busy road in the early morning to watch the sunrise or walk to the bus stop. So thank you for verifying.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant, for oh, okay. It's a good thing that you are here because you're the man. Please go ahead, come up and introduce yourself and go ahead with your question.
Sure, I have a question. My name is Phil. I'm a local resident here, Aina. HPD has responsibility for the county beach parks as far as closure at night, and D7 officers do an excellent job. Kahala, Wailupi, Kauai, Kuli'ou'ou, etc. If you can summarize for the audience here as far as the closure hours, and the question is, fishermen that are in the parks but do not have vehicles that have to leave are in there. Specifically at Wailupi, there's an issue with homeless that are hanging out at the bathroom. There was a disabled person recently that was impeded access to the restroom there after the 10 o'clock closure. Can you please comment on that?
Yes. So the first part of your question with regards to the hours, I believe in our area, I think the hours are all from 10 p.m. to I think it's 5 in the morning, I believe. If you go to other parks around the island, the hours can vary, but I believe ours it's from 10 o'clock to 5. And so yes, and so you are correct with that information with regards to the enforcement. I'll pass on the information to our officers to check the Wailupi, because I think I saw something recently with regards to that issue about people hanging around at the particularly in the Wailupi bathroom areas.
If you could clarify for the audience, is it vehicles only that have to leave by 10 p.m. or is it also the people that are within the park? The shoreline fishermen?
Yeah, not the but yes, they need to leave.
So the people in the county park?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in the designated park
area,
that's closed.
The offshore people
Yes,
fishing.
but the people are
okay.
fishing as of yes, they are exempt. And I would assume that people who are not fishing and who have a car there, that I would assume that they would leave with their car. But I suppose if they left without the car, then that would, of course, leave that now open to other enforcement, with regards to the parking, the car. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you're off the hook. Thank you. I really appreciate your guidance on these things, when people should call with these issues and what the park hours are. Appreciate all you do for us. We'll now have the report from the Board of Water Supply. Christopher Sugimoto, are you online?
Yes, I'm here, Chair.
Oh, hi.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Sugimoto from the Honolulu Board of Water Supply. I'd like to share my screen real fast. Okay, so for the main break report, there was one water main break. It was on March 13th. It was an 8-inch main, and it occurred at 6077 Kuli'ou'ou Street, and it was installed in 1975. Tonight's general water announcements. First topic is about the Detect a Leak Week and events. You can chase down and repair those pesky leaks during the annual Detect a Leak Week campaign. On Sunday, April 13th through Saturday, April 19th. You can join the Board of Water Supply and Hardware Hawaii at 2 special events to learn how to fix and repair leaks. The first event is a kickoff event on Saturday, April 13th at Pearl Ridge Center near Macy's from 11:30 to 1:30. And the closing event is on Friday, April 19th at Kahala Mall, Center Court, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Stop by for hands-on leak detection tips, toilet leak detection, dye tablets, interactive activities, and swag, plus a chance to win prizes. Let's work together to make every drop count. You can find out more information on our website at www.boardofwatersupply.com/DALW. And the last topic is about the H&L alerts. I know HPD already touched upon this. I'd like to just kind of go over a couple of things. First one is the customized alerts. You can create an account at hnlalert.gov and select preferred topics to receive notifications via text, email, or push notifications from the app. If you just want urgent alerts only, you can text HNL alert to 888-7777 for critical safety alerts by text. No registration is needed. You can get more information at honolulu.gov/DEM. That's the end of my report. Does anyone have any questions or comments for BWS?
Yes, would you please come up? Thank you, Chris.
Hi, Chris. I'm Kahala Opuna Motoyama. I have met with the people involved in the installation of the water main on Paiko Drive. And my son, Punahele Motoyama, is here. And we're here because we were actually invited. And there should be Paiko Drive residents here with us. But I don't know that anyone is here. BWS claims they got in touch with everyone on Paiko Drive to be here and to weigh in regarding the installation of the water main. Are you familiar with it, and were you part of the meeting with me? Because I know Kathleen Pahinui had gathered a lot of people to meet, and it was like a Zoom meeting or Teams meeting that we had. Were you part of that, Chris?
No, sorry, I wasn't part of that.
Okay, then you might not be able to comment. This is more of a comment rather than a question. The meeting that we had with, I'm sorry, I should mention that we are lineal descendants for Wailupe, the Ahupua'a of Waikiki, and also Aiea. So DLNR and SHPD specifically gets in touch with us when they would like us involved or to weigh in on, for example, protection of the iwi kupuna. And I understand that BWS has an archaeologist that has been hired for that purpose. And so we're just waiting on the cultural survey, which I think is still in the process of being prepared. The engineers spoke to other issues. I'm not too much worried about the iwi kupuna. I think once they are discovered, if they are, on the Paiko former Konohiki, then we will all be notified again. I am more concerned about the cultural heritage part, because people like my 3 sons, the baby here, Punahele, who's almost 40, and the older ones who are almost 60, grew up surfing, diving, fishing. I've done that myself, even though I'm from Manoa Valley. And Paiko Drive waters, that whole area is a gem, it's a treasure, and it's something that we need to protect. So one of the things I raised, and I hope all of you will feel reassured by this, is that I've asked that silt booms be in place to prevent contamination, because if we lose the coral reef, we lose the surf, we lose the fish, and it's no longer a treasure. And I was assured that BWS will make sure that the silt booms are on site. And also they're going to make sure that there's no leak of the petroleum, oil, and any lubricants. In other words, there should be no contamination, and the installation is about 200 feet from the high water mark. So hopefully this is all in place. And is anybody here from Pico Drive? I just show hands, sorry. No one. Oh, I'm disappointed. I do know that BWS did reach out, and if you can pass that on to Kathleen, that they could be attending through WebEx. So it doesn't mean they're not actually here, but they're just not here in the room. Thank you very much, Chris, for appearing for BWS. Thank you. Does anybody have a question for me? Yes.
Thank you for coming. Did you get any feeling from the neighbors that talked up at this meeting how things are going, or what they want, what else they want done, and how they feel everything has been handled by Florida Water
You're
Supply?
saying regarding the neighbors?
Yeah, the residents of the.
You know, I have to tell you honestly, there is one family that we know, and my son attended Kalani with their son and so forth. They grew up together, sort of played football together. And they're not interested in participating. And so I think the residents are either confident that it's going to be done properly and it's going to be, well, BWS goes out of its way to make sure that you're not inconvenienced. And if you look at the project, I don't know if any of you have seen the map of it, it's going to run from the highway into Pico Drive. So the residents, that's why I'm sort of disappointed they're not here. But hopefully they are on WebEx because this concerns them. Having had the water main in front of my home on East Monroe Road replaced twice, I can tell you it's a big inconvenience. It's just unavoidable, but it's necessary.
Let's just say this, if you as residents keep following, Board of Water Supply usually is a very good group to deal with. Just be on top of them, with them, let them know that you consider yourself a partner with them and things should go well. Just keep abreast of it.
Yes, I will do that. Again, Kathleen is actually doing that and she checks back with me to see if I've heard from the residents. My kuleana is mostly, our kuleana is just, if ikupuna are found, then it's red alert. We need to look into that and find out how we're going to treat the iwi that are found. And some of you might be familiar with Mr. Unterman and the efforts he went through to, the ideal is burial in place. And that doesn't always happen. You know, it's just something that's not possible in some cases, but Mr. Unterman did that. And he went a step further and he hired one of the best rock specialists in the state of Hawaii to make it attractive on top of that. And I'm sorry, but you know, I'm sorry, because we're getting into residents and that's sort of, we just did this, getting in touch with one of the residents only because we knew them. But otherwise, that's Kathleen Elliott Pahinui's kuleana, and she's really good at that. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
Excuse me. Mrs. Motoyama, could you please just remind people when the Pico Drive meeting is? Because it's coming up, so maybe the residents are going to appear at that meeting.
Okay. You know, we were first told April 7th was your meeting and a meeting regarding that. And then it got moved to April 2nd today, and we haven't heard anything else. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Because this is the latest, let's see, I don't know the date of this notice, but it gave the date of Monday, April 7th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at the Ainahaina Library. And the organizer is Linda Wong. And Kathleen Pahanui was also, she was also involved in the invite. Correct start of the meeting 8, though it says, wait.
Yeah.
8 p.m.
That does not sound not right.
No, that doesn't sound right. But if you could just
Check back.
find out and have her send out another notice so that people
I
come
will.
the right time.
I will.
Okay.
Right now, we're confused.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Yes, go ahead.
I've been told it's going to be a year or a year and a half for that project to be completed. Is that what they've told you?
Yeah, that's why I wish the residents were actively involved because that sounds a bit long for the length of the water main. And how many feet is the water main? What say? 1,200 feet? Yeah, 1,200 feet. Yeah, that seems way too long. Did they explain why it's going to take that long? Because people have a water issue for the time that they're
Well, we
installing.
always complete jobs on time, so I wouldn't worry.
I'm glad this neighborhood board is facetious. And we had to check into a hotel, in our case, on East Monroe Road, and then it broke again. Yeah. So, yeah, I will check with Kathleen, and I did not ever hear that it was going to take a year. So I will look into that too and get back to you.
Okay,
Thank you for
mahalo.
asking. Thank you.
Mahalo. Are there any other questions or notices for Board of Water Supply? Chris Sugimoto? Okay. Thank you, Chris.
All right, mahalo, everyone.
Okay, more later. We will now proceed to board business. Do we have quorum? Okay. First, approval of the March 5th, the March 5th regular meeting minutes. These minutes have been distributed. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, the minutes are approved. We will go on to our main topic tonight is Wailupe stream maintenance, and welcome Director Jean Albano for joining us today. We really appreciate you contributing to our discussion, and I'd like to, we have a group of speakers who are going to summarize their experiences, and we have a couple of organizations who are going to provide me with the recommendations that their research has come up with. And then I'd like you to speak about what the plans for the stream are as far as you know, and then we will allow for, I want to allow for enough time for questions and answers from the audience.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Gene Albano, Director of the Department of Facility Maintenance. Chair Burkert, Vice Chair Lucas, Neighborhood Board members. It is certainly my privilege and honor tonight to provide any update, any questions that you may have with regards to Wailupe stream or any other stream that's in this community. The Department of Facility Maintenance is responsible for maintenance of city-owned streams. And there are times that streams may have different jurisdictions within the stream route. And I'm here to answer any questions or concerns that you may have. In terms of an update, we started maintenance back in October of 24 manually at the Boulder area first. It had to be done manually as a result of our heavy equipment machinery not being available. And so we did our best. The crews did their best to make sure that they cut the critical vegetation that might have occurred that might impact flooding. And they did that with strategic purpose. And they routinely went back to progressively do more to a point where it is fairly managed. And now they're moving downstream of the bridge using our long reach crane as well as our bulldozer to clear up more of the more difficult vegetation, especially with the type of area that they are at now. So we are progressively maintaining, cleaning up the stream as best as practicable, and we expect that to be completed hopefully in the next 2-3 weeks. We recognize that there are concerns when pending streams do come, And we do have a process in which we go and check the critical stream points for any large debris that might impact flooding. We understand what occurred on 2018, where my understanding was that there was a large coconut tree that went against this bridge along Kalani that resulted in the damming that ultimately made the flooding occur. So we understand in terms of when pending storms are coming that we will do our best to make sure that any points of the streams that have traditionally had flooding, that we will do our best to make sure it's clear. So I will stop there and take any questions or hear any concerns that you may have at this time.
Well, sir, will you stand by while I introduce some of our residents who live along various portions of the stream, and also the organizations that have been invited to come and speak. So I'd like to start out with introduce Memo Regal. Memo, will you please come up to the mic? Memo, I believe, is as close to historian regarding affairs associated with the stream that we have. And she's been actively involved with stream maintenance and in order to prevent flooding in Lower Ainahaina. Memo, can you please tell us where your home is along the stream?
It's 5243 Papai Street. I am 7 houses in from Cal Highway Bridge.
Okay.
I was, sorry. Okay. And I'm thinking that maybe we just really need to talk in your office.
Okay. Memo,
I
how long
such
have you been at?
detailed- Oh, since
well,
1974.
Okay, that's a very long time.
Yeah.
Can you summarize what the concerns are of the residents in your part of the stream?
The concerns is the timing of the cleaning and how they're doing it this time. It's different than they have ever.
Okay, and
So
is
I'm
that a
really
good thing or
concerned.
not a good
No,
thing?
not a good thing. As a matter of fact, my house is it's the worst I've ever seen it since 1974. And in fact, it's so bad. I went on the other side on Nenui Street to see if I could see from my house, from their house into, couldn't even see because his is worse than mine. I've got 20 to 30 feet worth of stuff behind my 8-foot retaining wall. So it's really not good.
Are you talking
And-
about the height of the
Yes.
of the
All
plants that
all
are
the
growing?
plants, right.
Okay.
The kiabi trees. Now we've got the castor bean, the toxic castor bean plant
Yep.
that the agriculture department just flipped when they heard that started growing,
Mhm.
and said that people should really be using hazmat suits to clean that stuff up.
Okay.
So
So now
I'm
you were
concerned.
your home was flooded during that that big storm
Yes.
that we had.
Yes,
And what are you worried about happening again?
it's going to happen again.
Okay.
Definitely. Because
Okay.
it's worse than it was then.
So you're worried about debris coming down the stream and
Yes.
impeding the flow under the bridge
Right.
so that it backs up.
So it backs up.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
a matter of fact, my neighbor back there called me and said, Memo, you've got to get out of your house right now. An 11-foot wave just came and came through my mom's glass bedroom doors and smashed the doors. I'm trying to get her out. And I said, no, it's okay. I'm just going to go around and close my louvers. 3.5 minutes later, the water was up to here in
And
my living
that's-
room. And that 11-foot wave did come over my 8-foot retaining wall into my swimming pool and then right into the house in 3.5 minutes from her phone.
That's really scary. Yeah, we
really
don't
fast.
want that to happen
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Memo, thank you for everything that you've been doing. You've spent a lot of time and energy in trying to make the stream a safer place for the residents. Oh, go
Ma'am,
ahead, sir.
How close is relative to Kalani, how close is that? Did you say 8 houses Mauka 7. Okay, so we have not yet gotten there. We have the equipment now, and we are progressively going Mackay. So
Then they were gonna come, then they were gonna come back to us.
that is not
Great,
accurate.
thank
I
you.
got it from the crew myself because I knew I was coming here tonight.
That's different crews we're working with.
No, I think they recognize that this was a priority, and so they understand that they are making this particular stream a priority. We are in a situation right now as a city as a whole. We are trying to find resources, whether it's human resource, whether it's equipment resources, and given the council, Chair Waters, as well as the mayor, we are trying to hire, and we are hiring. The department is hiring well, and we anticipate that we are going to be able to get to more frequent maintenance as we continue to hire. So rest assured that we are going to address your concern.
Okay, and you only work 2 hours a day?
2 hours.
Yeah.
I work more than 2 hours.
Your men work only 2 hours a day on our?
I would hope not.
Well, that's what they've been doing.
If that's the case, I would
In the morning, greet them and then leaving for lunch.
I would be quite very disappointed if it's 2 hours. Yeah, there are union requirements that they would, in essence, be fired. So I would beg
Don't
to
give
think, no, no worries.
Okay, I would like to now, Bill, you are actually the next person that I would like to call up. So Bill Kilcoyne is a resident along Wailupe Stream as well. And Bill, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us how long you've lived in Aina Haina and where
Yes,
your home is?
I'm on a beautiful, used to be a beautiful stream. It turned into a jungle, in my opinion. I've been there since 2000. I think, first of all, it's a fire hazard. And I'm glad you guys are working on it. I think that's wonderful. But if that bugger went up with any kind of winds, we could have some duplication of some terrible things that's happened to California and Maui, of course. Have you walked the stream or been on the stream? Or if you look from the first bridge and look up to the valley, it looks gorgeous. But you get up a couple hundred yards and it turns into a jungle.
Yeah, and
it
we are
is-
addressing it, sir. I promise you, we are addressing it. Now, when it comes to finding the fine line, when it comes to vegetation, there is a need for some vegetation so that you don't create erosion and that there's a means for the vegetation to stop any intense rain or intense flow of rain that will actually make the stream erode more. So there is a balance. And if you look at green infrastructure, you will see vegetation that you might think is overgrowth, but it actually protects the environment.
Yes,
But I understand your concern.
you know,
it
this
is
library,
probably
this
not-
library was closed for 1 year. And I have trees in the stream that are 30 feet high.
you know,
And that is not good at all. And we're all concerned. My neighbors are so afraid of a fire or anything along that line, or a kid going down there and getting lost. I mean,
Oh, they look.
I think it's, we've studied this thing for 20 years and there's some frustration between my neighbors and myself.
let me do this. I promise I will come back, give you an update to see if if my department is not performing to what my expectations are, I will come and apologize to you that we are not making your expectations. But I've been with the city for only 2 years. Mayor brought me in to change efficiencies, change mindsets, and that's what I'm doing for the department.
Again, we're not allowed to spray. Is that correct?
No, you can't spray, fortunately.
Bill, just before we go on, can you please tell us where along the stream you live? How high up do you live?
Yeah, there's 3 bridges, the highway bridge, the Hind Bridge, and then the one up by Wailupi Circle. I'm between the second bridge and I'm 5 houses down on this side of the bank. I'm fortunate, if you drew a line across the top of the stream, I'm 20 feet down. So I have a lot to give, but the vegetation is terrible.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, can you please come up to the mic? Please come up.
I was just going to mention, about the extent of the maintenance on the stream. So behind our house, there's a tree growing up in the middle of the stream that's about 30 feet high. And there's about 20 feet of plastic wrapped around it. And then big clumps of grass and stuff. And then about 10 feet from it is a 20-foot tree. So I was just wondering if the maintenance crews are going to get up there. But is that the tree you're referring to? Or are there other 30-foot trees in there?
Oh, there's several. Yeah. Tarzan would love it. 5349 OEO.
Hey, Memo. PAA. Yeah, so I'll stand up again and tell you what I was going to tell you, but I just had the question about maintenance. And when you see that tree, you'll be kind of amazed. But I walk the stream and I pick up trash. I don't like to see remains of a human civilization down there. So I pick up cans and plastic. But when I saw the 20-foot piece of plastic wrapped around the tree and then this big pile, I said, that's more than I can handle.
Sir, how far back do you live?
Let's see. I am halfway between Ani Street and the end of Ha'o.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead, Sherry.
I just want to help Aina Haina. I'm not from Aina Haina, but I've been on this board since 1989. And since 1989, we have talked about Wailupi Stream. And there are issues here. And I want to hear everybody that came to talk about it. I want to hear you all talk. But there are two issues here. The lack of any maintenance at all, and then the kind of maintenance that takes place when they actually pretend to do maintenance. That's what I've heard through all the years, that the maintenance isn't done correctly, it isn't done enough, and it isn't done on a schedule. And it's not a stream, it is a jungle, just like Bill said. It's a jungle. I went out and looked at it. So for Aina Haina to try and get further along on this issue, keep notes, keep records, take pictures, get names, do timelines, write it down, meet with the Department of Facility Maintenance, then meet with the mayor if you have to, come back to this board, but you have to have evidence to back you up, because we've been talking about this, it's like 35, in my experience, since 1989, that's like 36, 37 years, and nothing has happened. That's good. So you need to document what's going on, what it looks like, because I want you to get a bang for your buck for your comments. Show the pictures of the 30-foot. I've seen them. You can't even comprehend what's going on until you actually see it. And it's crazy. And the city's not been doing, yeah, well, good.
Jane, could I just show you something real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Not put you on the spot. But that's from my backyard. I got great privacy, but
Things like this, I want to understand. I'm not making excuses what happened a couple administrations ago. I'm here to fix what is now. And I want to understand from my department why we're not addressing that type of overgrowth. Now, if it's access, if it was because of equipment, I'll come back and explain that to you. But rest assured, this administration is trying to address your concerns.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce, oh, okay. Okay.
This is what I'm doing with the Kailua community. They have the same concerns. I'm more than willing to do that as well.
Terrific. Yes, next may I ask Andrea Wagner to come up to the mic? Andrea and her husband Rick have been documenting the amount of precipitation in Aina Haina, as well as the status of the stream all the way back from the Boulder Basin to the highway. And they also have a number of excellent pictures that are taken in the same places. So they're good references. Andrea, could you please summarize with some of the problems that you've seen with recent management efforts? And before that, please tell us where you live along the stream and how long you've lived there.
Sure. My name's Andrea Wagner. I live on Lave Street near Alahe'e on the stream. Our family moved to the valley in the late 1950s. So I grew up on and in the stream, which was much shallower and narrower than it is now. I remember these discussions starting after the 1969 storm that took 10 feet off the back of our property and our neighbors' properties. It was after that that the city brought in the Army Corps of Engineers to try to come up with a solution. And the solution that was presented, I believe it was in 1973, was one that the community rejected. The community association notified the community about what was happening, brought them in. And the problem was that the Corps was going to pave the stream, deepening and widening it, taking 20 feet off the properties bordering the stream, which sounded like overkill. Since that time, there have been ongoing discussions with the Corps, ongoing discussions with the city. I've seen bulldozers of varying sizes run up the stream. Originally, they were small bulldozers. They would scrape the bottom of the stream and scrape the base of the sides, which enhanced the possibility of erosion. My husband and I lived on the mainland for 30 years, came back, and I was surprised to hear the same discussions ongoing. So I started to photograph the stream at whatever easy access points I could find. There are 3 access points off of Howe above Ani Street Bridge. None of them have easy access into the stream because you have a steep bank. There is one access point on Lave Street above us. It again has no easy access. So that may be part of the reason your crews are having a problem. I would always document when they come in to clean the stream. It's not cleaning the stream, it is stripping it of vegetation, which, as you have noted, increases the chance of erosion of banks and the bottom of the stream. This crew has been particularly interesting. The work I have seen has been more targeted. They have taken out small saplings. I have not been able to find, I haven't not seen those large trees that you mentioned, but there are points in the stream you just can't see. What has happened where we are, we're about 7 houses up from Hind Drive Bridge. Memo had contacted me at one point to ask whether the work had progressed to us. And at that point, I told her I had been watching what was done. The crew had gone in at the Lave Place access, had gone upstream to clear, downstream to clear, but there are bends that I can't see around. They had then moved work to the Hind Drive Bridge, working up from there, which made sense to me. It's easier access. But they stopped one house below us, which I mentioned to Memo. Shortly after that, my husband let me know that one day while I was out, the crew came to the door and asked if they could go into the stream through our yard, which they did. And they cleaned the area, cleared the area, cut material behind our house up to where they had cleared before and left, leaving all of the cut material on the bank or in the stream. They then reappeared at Hind Drive Bridge, continuing their work downstream, also leaving cut material on the banks and on the bottom. We happen to be lucky right now. We are in a period where it's particularly dry. But we don't want another event like 2018, where a sudden storm causes problems. And I am not a proponent of paving the stream, because as we saw in 2018, paving the stream doesn't solve problems. But there needs to be some intelligent addressing of how to maintain preferably native plants in the stream. And I don't know that you have crews that have the ability and intelligence to do targeted clearing of trees, because the trees in the stream are the serious problem. The grasses will lie down, and we've all seen it. If we look at the stream after a big storm, the grasses lie down. It holds the bottom of the stream. It prevents further erosion. And on the banks, it can do the same. But whenever that's cut, the reinforced areas only went up 6 feet. Where we are, that's half the bank. Our bank above it is undercut. So if they cut material, and I've planted Ileae there to help hold the bank, if they cut that, I have no protection. Any questions?
No, thank you. That's great. Really appreciate you.
I will say when it comes
going
to tree
explain-
maintenance, however, this is where the city is interesting. The Department of Facility Maintenance cannot just cut trees. We have to go to the Department of Parks and Recreation that is responsible for trees. That is the complexity of the city. It's what we have to deal with. But if it's a tree, like what he said, we will address what you feel, what this community feels is important to get cleared.
If I make an observation,
Rick, please introduce yourself.
Rick Wagner, I live on Lobby Street, 6 houses up, 6 or 7 houses up.
I see your email, Miss Wagner. So
Yeah.
something like this, in my opinion, this is actually great.
Yeah.
This ground covering protects the stream.
Right.
Like the Lave Street access. That's actually the Lave Street access point. And
Yeah.
that actually looks better than usual. It will become extremely overgrown.
And we understand that, but this is what I mean by having vegetation that
Right.
protects the stream.
Some vegetation.
Yeah.
Vegetation is nice. I just want to observe that if they came in with their weed cutters on a regular basis, those saplings would never get big. You can cut them with the weed cutters.
Yeah, and that's where human resources is being addressed. And as we ramp up, having the crews, having the staff, we will be more frequent in terms of our street maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and suggestions. I'd like to introduce now a representative from Malama Mauna Lua. Pam Wyatt, are you here? Oh, hi. Hi. Nice to meet you.
To meet you all. Yep, I'm Pam Wyans. I'm from Alama Mauna Lua. I'm sitting in for Doug Harper, who I believe has been here before to talk about some of our Wailupe stream work, which is in partnership with DFM and others. I'm not actually here prepared to give any formal statement about our stance on the stream. I guess I just would like to say that I believe when Doug Harper was here before and he talked about a project that we're working on Wailupe Stream with a mainland entity interfluve, where we're retrofitting a small area of the upper reach of the stream in part, and with DFM. DFM is a good partner on this. In part, that is trying to address what Andrea was mentioning about this issue with the big boulders and getting removed, and then, allowing a lot of the boulders to go down and not removing the correct ones. But you've all heard about that, and so I'm not going to go into that in any more detail. But another component of our project is working with Interfluve and trying to work with DFM on reviewing the operation and maintenance manual currently have for boulder basin and stream maintenance. So one thing that maybe we could offer is after we have some sort of draft, actually I've been taking some notes here about what everybody's already mentioning. But that could be an opportunity that we could share with the association, and the community could also contribute their comments and provide feedback on some of the, not necessarily kind of recommendations, but and definitely working with DFM on making this work. I mean, one thing that we have noticed, for example, with the boulder basins, which are the big basins that are at the top of every stream, right? They get cleaned routinely, but one idea is maybe they could be cleaned maybe in a slightly different way, maybe a little deeper, maybe then that would like add extra water capacity, and then there'd be less water flowing down in the streams during the high rain flows. I know, maybe not, we don't know. But anyway, just brainstorming and coming up with some ideas and working with DFM to see sort of what's reasonable, what makes sense, and what have they learned from other locations around the island that we could also learn from here.
When do you think your recommendations would be ready to share with the communities?
We hope within maybe like a month or two, I would say.
Okay. I'd like to invite you back. So we have two community organizations. For Aina Haina, we have the Aina Haina Community Association, and for East Oahu, from Kalani Iki to Kuli'ou'ou, we have this neighborhood board. I'm sure, well, I won't speak for Aina Haina Community Association if they would like a separate report, but I would certainly, love to have you back, perhaps in May or June,
Okay.
whenever you think you'd be ready.
Yep, that sounds great. And in
Okay.
the meanwhile, I'll keep taking notes and share them with our team.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
thank you, everybody. Does anybody have any other questions?
No.
Yes, it looks like somebody.
Hi.
Hi.
Jeannie Ota, Aina Haina Community Association. So we have been working with Doug Harper. We did a virtual meeting with the Interfluve engineers. They were very, very knowledgeable about the stream and had been, so we're very thankful about that. So I wanted to comment, there's a lot of things that people have already brought up. One about the vegetation, and I think there's a need for us to explore native vegetation rather than all the invasives that are in the stream. So I would like, the city to consider working with the residents on that. And the other thing is with the standard operating procedures for the stream, which you just mentioned, Doug had mentioned that as well. So the latest manual I saw was updated in 2019. I'm assuming that that's still the current manual for the city. But that manual is general. It's for all the streams. So if it's possible, I'd like to have one that is, specific to this stream, since it is the only unchanneled stream on East Oahu. I think and that boulder basin, I do believe that boulder basin is smaller than it was because boulders have been accumulating. It started out to be 3,000 cubic square feet. I don't know what the capacity is now, but the original capacity was for a 10-year flood. That is why we're getting flooded, because it's the whole capacity of the Kuli'ou'ou Gulch stream and Wailupi stream is smaller. It's for the 10-year flood. So I would appreciate, Memo suggested we meet, and I think it would be productive for us to talk about what we've known, because all the studies since about the late 60s mention the primary solution. One of the top solutions is stream maintenance. I have city stream maintenance records from 2013 to 2017, and it looks like stream maintenance is only once a year. So I think the goal should be a little bit more often, and maybe looking at after the Interfluve pilot is done, maybe looking at expanding it if it's successful, and also doing like the vegetation, really good vegetation, not just weeds. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Well, I do want to give props to Mana Mauna Loa because they have been great partners. They understand the struggles that our department has. And I will explain that I am a strong proponent of native species, but I am not the department that would change the vegetation. So that is going to be a bigger conversation besides DFM. It's going to be whoever decides what needs to be planted, and that's not a DFM jurisdiction. So it's a continued conversation, and whether it's with the city, a nonprofit organization, the rest of the community, that's what we'll strive to do.
Yes, go
I
ahead,
just
Bill.
wanted clarification. Your crew cannot cut down trees. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is not our jurisdiction. No, it's good. It's just not our jurisdiction. The
Well-
city will cut the tree, but it's just not DFM. It is Parks and Recreation.
So how do we go
So
about?
I will be the champion for the city.
Well, thank you.
So if that's what this is about, I will be the champion moving forward. So if I need to bring other departments as it relates to native species, cutting a tree, I will bring the other departments that need to be part of this
So I
conversation.
showed you the pictures of the trees, and they're in my area. That's the predominant problem. I call it elephant grass. That's in the stream, and it's pretty tall. But there's trees like you can't believe. So, if you would like to come to my house,
I think we're gonna set a
We can
field
have a
trip,
field trip day.
and it will allow me as a new director to understand the community needs, and we can go from there.
terrific. Thank you.
That's what I promised this neighborhood board.
Yes. One more question, and then I'd like to introduce one more resident to speak.
One more question is how can we help you
Oh,
maybe change the policy so that you can cut trees that are in the stream?
I don't think it's a policy change. It is simply making sure that every department is part of the solution. And maybe that's what the city struggles with in terms of departmental responsibilities, that it's quite siloed. My understanding, it was siloed even more. And perhaps that's the reason why we're in this predicament now. It was just a siloed structure.
I'm sorry.
stand up.
All right. If DFM has the responsibility for clearing the streams, they should be able to clear whatever needs to be removed from the streams without another agency involved. And that's what I'm saying. It sounds like there's a policy that needs to be changed, and if we can help.
There are
with
tree lovers, and that I think that is the other concern with trees, especially when there are large trees. I have been through this in Manoa, and that is not a simple task.
If I may,
Yes.
very quickly to put some closure on this. Parks and Rec actually has the Division of Urban Forestry. Urban Forestry has their base yard on Leahy Avenue, right at the base of Pocky Street. I would recommend that representatives from here reach out to them. They have the specialized equipment, the trained individuals for safety, and the ability to remove large trees. They're the ones that respond to all county trees falling over a road and what have you. Please make it happen. Urban Forestry.
Certainly will. I
Department
will
of
look
Urban
at
Forestry.
everyone's eyes, and I have to come back to you guys.
Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for your comments and recommendations. I'd like to introduce Chris Kramer, who is also a resident of Aina. Chris, can you please tell everyone where you live along the stream? Because I believe you do live along the stream, right?
We're working along the highway, and so I have been in touch with project consultants, and for the study that's coming up. And so from what I understand, there's going to be outreach to the community, like there are efforts that are starting. So yeah, I think this is initial.
I didn't properly
Please.
introduce you. Chris, this is Chris Kramer. He's president of the Mauna Lua Fish Pond Heritage Center, and he is he has some excellent recommendations and regarding stream management. Chris, could you just summarize some of the thoughts you've had?
Well, you know, there's quite a lot, but I guess one of the easy ones is when we have flooding concerns, the city at EPP is permitting homes to be built right up into the stream setback, right where there has been previous flood damage. And then so it just seems like it's the agencies need to talk with each other when you have one study being done to minimize flooding, and then you have DPP that's giving permits to build right up against the stream, you know, monster homes. So that's kind of, and you can see they're putting like propane tanks and things that will not hold up in a storm. So an electrical infrastructure, things like that. So that's one thing where the agencies need to speak with each other.
Chris, do you
And
have
yeah.
advice on who could assist with replanting the stream with native vegetation?
Yeah, there's Kuli'ou'ou is the native plant nursery. They did a presentation a number of years ago to our community, the cafeteria at Aina Elementary, and they had kind of a whole plan as far as native plants and things like that. Further than that would be having stewardship to revive the stream, and so that we can, it's not just dependent on a consultant or another group, but you have a community stewardship. But like the last time they did some work on the stream, they put really steep and they took away any safe area to get down to the stream. So, you know, if you have community stewardship, you need accessibility that the community can access safely.
Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us, and you're always so helpful when it comes to trying to find long-term solutions that respect the land and the native vegetation and the native fish and try to protect our watershed, and we really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. There.
Well, I'd like to okay, yeah, Lonnie, please speak up.
Looking at the DUF website, so there is an online request that you can put through. Is that what they have to go through to get the trees out of the? Well, it says here, so you can email them at duf@honolulu.gov, and they are in charge of the trees, as you said. It says it's on the website. And then you can send an online request through their website. So you go on there, you request, and you create an account, you select the report, select the tree, write a detailed message on your request, and then we recommend you include photos, videos, or audio. So there is actually on the website. And thank you for that. That's actually, it was really helpful. And they have like, you know, some of the concerns you guys brought up. It's on the website, like native trees. It talks about why they don't plant as many native trees or plants on this website. So it's yeah, it's, you just gotta Google it and it's on that website. Just wanted to share that. That's very interesting. And yeah, I did meet with the Army Corps of Engineers today along with Chris. And they're starting up their study on the Wailupe stream.
Oh, terrific, you guys. Yes, Pam, please, can you please?
About the website, that if you're interested in a Department of Urban Forestry planting a tree in front of your house in the right of way, you could also submit a request online.
Yeah.
And they'll come and they'll plant a tree.
Well, thank you all for your excellent observations and suggestions. I feel like we're moving forward, but so the plan is Memo and Bill are going to arrange for a site visit or field trip to Director Albano and show him along the stream and what's been done and where there's still problems. Did I get that correctly? Okay, Memo. All right. And then Director, can we have you follow up in maybe 2 months? Okay. Or 1 month.
May is a bad month. I have college graduations. on
Okay,
May.
June.
So can we?
How
Is
about
will
June?
June be okay?
Okay, yeah. Pam, would you be able to come back in June? Oh, terrific. All right, you guys are great and we really appreciate you. You have a question? Yeah, please come on up and stand. There's a mic for you.
Hi, I'm Lori Carr Ohashi, lived in Ainahaina on Hollow Street since 1963, but have been a resident of Ola Street up above the hill there for the last 18 years. Here tonight with my neighbor, Bill, who spoke a little earlier. Question for the director. We have a similar situation, I think, that needs to get on your radar on Paola Street. Some folks on the Nextdoor app, the neighborhood blog, I don't know if anybody's seen, everybody asking, what's going on at the hairpin turn? There's some guy there who pulls over in a pickup truck. You know, there's an agricultural thing starting up. No permit is posted. This is the hairpin at Paola Street up the hill here. And he's, what was it, grubbing or construction? No permit of any sort is posted. We understand he is hairpin. Yeah, the house that used to be a crystal meth lab. Boy, my neighborhood is jumping. Yeah. Okay. So now we got across the street. We got that house cleaned up and got those guys out with the SWAT team. So now we got across the street, Mike, who owns the hookah bar, evidently. He's a neighbor and a small business owner. And he also bought that land, that lot, that vacant lot, and it's zoned for cluster development. So he is dumping construction and green waste with no permit posted right there in that drainage that goes all the way out to Wailupe Beach Park. And now I'm hearing, you know, I mean, I've lived through all this stuff in Ainahaina since 1963 with the Army Corps of Engineers and all that. And I'm thinking, oh, perfect topic, perfect segue that up on my hill, this guy could be blocking our drainage. And then what kind of flooding are we going to be exposed to? It needs to be nipped in the bud, so to speak. We need to at least be aware of what's going on. And if it's county land, yeah, he parks on county land. There's a little grassy area below his property that nobody's supposed to park on, but he's always parked there with his vehicles, walks across and then starts doing his dumping on his property, which could have 4 houses on it sooner than later. But I've talked to Tommy Waters' office, and Amanda over there says that he was trying to pull a permit for something valued at $1 million, but he's kind of a novice in the game here of development. So he didn't do it properly. So the permit is in limbo. So nothing's been permitted yet, according to her office. And she was supposed to call me back. I left a message this morning for Tommy's office, but nobody called me back. They're obviously very busy there, but yeah, this is just on our radar, and a bunch of the neighbors have kind of appointed me and Phil to come on their behalf. But everybody that drives up and down Paola is on the Nextdoor, app, and I know the answer, but I'm not going to put myself out on that app with my name.
Well, ma'am, could you please email Director Albano with,
Yes,
with that
details.
request? Because we need to move on in our agenda. Thank
So-
you.
That
Can I
is
just
under
one thing?
DFM's purview with regards to best managing practices. And so if it's a matter of issuing a violation to the property owner, I have the address 5197 across. Okay. Ac- And we will go and observe and see what's happening. Yep.
Okay. I'd like to recognize Frank Fuji. Frank, go ahead.
Just, first of all, thank you very much for coming and facing the fire, okay? I worked for the city for many years. I know how things are siloed. I'm also very familiar with the fact that after 4 years, we get a new mayor, we change department heads. Everybody has to catch up, they catch up. That's part of the problem here, is that this thing has been going on and going on and going on. So my question to you is, I mean, you've heard a lot from us. What can we do to help you break down the silos? When you come back, I mean, I don't know what the protocol is. I'm brand new here, but bring the guy from DUF, bring the guy from Parks and Rec, so that you don't have to face this fire by yourself. Okay, let us help you do what you need, what we want.
That
you
is why I will champion that, sir. I think that it comes from leading by example, and that is what the mayor wants us to do as a cabinet. Break down barriers, see how we collectively address community concerns.
to bring it.
That is my aspiration to do. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Kevin?
And thank you for, so, Kevin Mulkern, I've been sending out emails and suggestions on the stream for, I don't know, maybe the last 10 years. My company, for about 10 years, adopted the section of stream from the Kalani Highway Bridge to the ocean. And more recently, I've been involved with the Republican Party that adopted a section of the stream by Howe Street Place. A couple of concerns I've had over the years, and my family purchased and built a house in Anaheim in 1949, so I have a little history here, although we recently sold it, so I'm no longer a resident here. I have been in the maintenance business for 50 years, so this is 50 years of marriage and 50 years in business. One of the things I don't understand is how we use the word maintenance. Maintenance is you mow the lawn every 2 weeks, you clean the stream every 3 months. We've been talking about maintenance a little differently, like it's a new project every year. So there is no maintenance program for the stream, and we've been talking about it for 50 years. Anyway, so some of the things that I've shared with you in my emails is pictures of idle equipment the city and state has sitting at various places on the island. They're basically tractors with large flotation tires, and they have articulating arms. And I'm seeing them used a little more on the highways now. The arms have flail mowers on them. So one person sitting in a tractor can mow up the stream bank 15 or 20 feet. The flail mowers will cut halicoa, a variety of vegetation. So when I hear manual labor, I think there is no manual labor out there, and the labor we have is not skilled and motivated. But having someone in an air-conditioned cab driving down the stream with a mower that can mow the banks, chop the vegetation into little tidbits or mulch and leave it there so that it wouldn't clog the stream seems to be a very simple economical solution, especially since the $250,000 machines are sitting idle at various places in various yards. makes no sense. I do use chemicals in my business, Roundup for one. There are chemicals that are labeled for use by waterways. But one of the things I shared more recently was a company on Maui that uses steam. So basically superheated steam to kill the vegetation. So the vegetation collapses. It continues to hold the soil, prevent erosion. I know it seems like a very simple solution. I've spoken to the crews, and when they cut down the larger trees, they told me that they were treating the stumps with a product called Garland, which I believe is registered for killing tree stumps. To yank the tree stump out of the ground, you loosen up the soil, goes down into the stream, the mud goes out into the bay. So not good. But the trees, there are things that could be used to treat the trees. When we talk about the larger trees, those were little saplings that nobody pulled out when they first got started. And then they watched them grow for 20 years. And now we have to get special permission. It makes no sense. I've watched the retaining walls being built. I'm not a mason, but whenever we build walls more than 6 feet, we have to have an engineer stamp the plans. And the reason for that is the engineer has to engineer the footing for the walls so it doesn't fall over. The walls that were built along the stream are what I would call built on a floating footing. In other words, they were just built on the base of the stream and then built up. There is no footing. And, oh, there is. Okay. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
They would pick up rocks and things
Okay.
people around it,
Hmm.
swing it in position.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
The rock instead, rock into the first putting in erosion fabric behind it. So it's erosion fabric, fitted boulder, lots of it built up. Then they're grouted in place. And they came back to my yard and they pumped thousands of gallons of sand.
Okay.
So I got to see this every day.
Okay.
So saw the whole process.
One of the nice
Okay,
things.
guys, excuse me.
No, what?
And you have, these are,
Yeah.
there's hope for us.
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah. Okay.
but we do need to move on.
Could I, two more seconds?
Seconds.
One of the nice things about being a loudmouth howlie is I get input. What I observed was a filter fabric being laid on the surface of the stream bed, and the boulders being put on top of the filter fabric. So what I saw or observed is, yes, and I can find my pictures.
Kevin,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something? This will be helpful to them. On June 5th, there is at Kalani High School on June 5th, 7 p.m. The mayor and all the heads of his departments will be in town, right? So they have the town hall. So June 5th, don't miss it. I think that's where you should go, and you can kind of get all the different silos there and the mayor's ear right there.
Yes. Okay,
7
we're
p.m.
gonna move ahead to officials' reports. Public input for items on the agenda. I am going to, with your permission, move the issue of public relations to the next meeting, but I'd like everyone to think about it. Our goal is to increase community involvement. Director Albano, I thank you for being here, and we're going to move on. Please keep it under a minute because we are way behind.
All right. I came down here to kind of tell you, so we've lived on the stream for 27 years, my wife and I. And I got a front row seat to the 2012 fiasco when Corps of Engineers tried to do their thing. And it started at my house because we have the highest elevation drop or the lowest elevation drop So the greatest erosion. And it ended up at the river mouth. And at the river mouth, Corps of Engineers had a big presentation with guys from the West Coast. And it took me about 10 minutes to blow a hole through their plan and throw their $30 million plan out the window because they were wrong. And it involves physics and chemistry, which is undeniable. The fact that they were going to put in unproven engineering called speed bumps to shoot water out into the bay, which would take all the mud and pretty much smother the reef. And then put in sediment boxes the size of refrigerators. And everybody knows boulders the sizes of refrigerators and Volkswagens come down that street. So I hear the Corps of Engineers is starting up again. I have a degree in tropical soils, not soils like the guys up on the mainland. I also worked for Soil Conservation Service for 3 years, and I was involved in a huge study where they didn't take my recommendations, and the community of Sandy Creek was lost, was blown out. So we had a saying, the Corps of Engineers has never met a project they can't screw up. So those boys are coming back at the stream again. And I told them, follow the Japanese model. Natural rocks, slow the velocity down. But to get the water under the bridge, they're going to tell you, and they're going to tell Waters in their report, we need to speed the water up to shoot it out into the bay. And I've got another hour or two of stuff, but those are the main points I want to make is, if you don't pay attention to what the Corps of Engineers is doing, or wants to do, or will do, this stream is going to be gone.
Well, I'd like to invite you to be part of the vetting process for what happens with the stream, and hope that you will be here in June, or when we have that next meeting with the director. I think you have valuable input, and I'd like you to be a part of it. What happens?
Carl Carvalho, memo, we were on the PAA board back in the 90s.
Okay, I'm going to move on to our board okay. No, I did want to mention that, hello? All right, would everyone please allow us to continue with the agenda? We're very thankful to have Frank Fuji and Mecca Monsangier who are offering to get the word out regarding our meetings and let people know what neighborhood boards do. What I would like to do at the next meeting and to have them consider is establishing a committee that would give them more flexibility in working outside meetings, and to provide their recommendations to the board so that we can continue to work on getting our community involved, because everyone who is here is part of this neighborhood board, and we want more people to be here and to participate in what happens to our neighborhood. So because we're short on time, what I'm going to do is table the voting on establishing a committee to the next meeting and proceed to public input for items on the agenda, if there are any. And I would like anyone who has a concern to please keep it short, to allow for us to be able to have our officials give their reports and give us feedback to questions we've asked them about before. And we also have a presentation on reimagining public safety, and I don't want that to get too late. So is there anyone in the audience who came today with something on their mind that they would like the neighborhood board to address beside yours? Because you mentioned it already. Do we have a new concern? Yes, go ahead, Sherry.
I was going to wait till Adam Dews talked, but I just saw an article in the paper that the Honolulu City Council is going to explore, and the title doesn't say property tax financing, but in the article it says property tax financing to fund future development. And I just want us to discuss it at the next board meeting. And I want Councilman Waters to know that at least one person here, I want them to stop thinking about our properties as their private piggy bank. They already want to build this monstrous bridge across the Alawai, which is done over on the mainland. So they want to do it here. It makes me sick. Anyway, this article was March 27, 25. They want to explore property tax financing to fund future development. Were you guys dealing with that? Okay. I would
Okay.
like our board to take a little, not now, but like next month, discussing that because they're just endlessly finding their little projects that are on the backs of people trying to live in their homes. And it's got to stop. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public, and board members are certainly invited to act as members of the public when they have concerns, but does anyone have a concern that hasn't been mentioned tonight? Yes, please. Please stand up.
Carl again. I just want to mention one of the really important points in the 2012 project that they wanted to institute in the stream. I said, I never saw you guys do a survey. And they said, we're not going to do a survey. And I said, so how are you going to do your construction in the stream bed with no survey where the property lines are? And they said, well, they couldn't answer it. So I said, I think rightly, if you build a rock wall on my property without my permission, I will sue you. But more importantly, the stream goes where it wants. So if the stream goes that way, that guy loses land and this guy picks up land. So I need to emphasize the point that these guys' plans are not well thought out. And there's lots of money involved. And the thing is once these things get going, they can't be stopped.
Gotcha. We're going to now go to officials' reports, beginning with Congressman Ed Case's representative, Julia. Okay, do we have a representative for Congressman Case? No, okay, I don't hear anyone. Do we have Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Dita Holyfield? Oh, no, okay. Oh, Janine, do you have, Janine, please go ahead and speak.
Hi, I just wanted to register my objection to Congressman Case approving of the condemnation of Representative Green when he spoke out against, the CR that they were passing in Congress. There was no need to do that. He's a Democrat. He was trying to make a point about keeping Medicaid, which is being destroyed by the Trump administration. And for him to allow that to happen to one of our own Democrats, it was shameful. And I wish he would come to our meetings so that we could tell him that he's not doing Hawaii a favor when he is agreeing to anything that the Trump administration is doing, because what they're doing is awful. And he should not be siding with any of the Republicans. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. That's so noted. Have you sent him, a letter with your thoughts?
Yes, and I've also watched his town hall and his explanation about how he will not, he'll make individual decisions instead of taking the sides of the Democrats. And to me, this is not a time, it's a new day. You cannot side with the Republicans on anything because they are destroying our government and our democracy.
Thank you, Janine, for speaking up. Okay, I would like to go, okay, Governor Josh Green's representative, Dave Day, will not be able to join us tonight. So I want to go ahead to our faithful Adam Dew, who is here in person to represent Council Chair Tommy Waters. Good to
Thank
see
you.
you, Adam.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Vice Chair Lucas. Adam Dew from Council Chair Tommy Waters' office. We also have Senior Advisor Kevin Imanaka with us tonight.
Hello.
Well, one second, it just got a little chilly. I really want to thank the board and the community members that came out tonight. I think this is a great example of what a neighborhood board can accomplish. It's really happy that Director Albano was able to make it out here in person. He's a very, very busy man. He has, in my opinion, one of the hardest departments to run. I do want to say that I know there's a lot of follow-up questions that many of you guys have for the director. You can send them to Chair Waters' office, to me. I can compile them all together and send it to Director Albano. You can send it to, I believe, we have our newsletter out here in the front. You have them, I passed them out to the neighborhood board as well. You can find it on the city council's website, but Chair Waters' email address is tommy.waters@honolulu.gov. You can send it to me, adu@honolulu.gov, or call me directly on my direct line at 768-5044. I did want to point out, thank you, Kalani, for mentioning Mayor's Town Hall on June 5th. It's at Kalani High School, I believe at 7 p.m. However, this neighborhood board's June meeting is the night before, on June 4th. So I'll do my best. I'll do my best to get all the departments here together. So director again, TPR, Division of Urban Forestry, as well as DDC. So hopefully we can hash this all out before the mayor's town hall. And maybe at the mayor's town hall, we can say, oh, what a great job Director Albano and the rest of his, the mayor's administration is doing at addressing Wailupe Stream. With that, we took up a lot of time with the stream, so I'll just make myself available for any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Council Chair Tommy Waters? Oh, okay. I can just see the hand, not the person.
Stephanie Spangler, Adam, will you please send to Chair Waters my congratulations and thanks for protecting the residents of Oahu with the sewer rate raises that were being proposed. The step ladder, I mean, he was a hero. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Cost of living is one of Chair Waters' biggest focus. He realizes, what a burden fees like that can be. So thank you. I will express that to him.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you. I'm so happy to see the community here. Jeannie, Andrea, Memo, everyone. Thank you for coming out and speaking up for the community. Yes. Yes. Oh, awesome. Allison will forward any phone calls or emails to me. So. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Chair.
I'd like to next recognize the representative for Senator Stanley Chang. Do we have a representative with us?
Aloha.
Aloha. Oh, how did you
Hi,
do? Oh.
I've relocated to online, but it was really a delight to be with you all in person and to participate in some of the side discussions that were taking place. And so thank you for having us.
Please
So
introduce yourself. We didn't get to meet you. You were handing the pamphlets around and we didn't get your name.
Sure. Hi. Yes, my name is Stephanie Smith Eisenstadt, and I am Senator Chang's legislative aide this session. I was pleased to join you all in, are you able to hear me okay?
Please repeat your name. It was hard to,
Hi.
it got kind of garbled.
Yes, it's Stephanie Smith Eisenstadt, Senator
Eisenstadt.
Chang's legislative aide this session. I was
Ah,
able to attend at the beginning of the session, I think in December or January, when I started with Senator Chang, and here we are now in April. When you meet again, we will have adjourned the 33rd legislative session. So I want to just provide you with a couple of highlights from the Senator's newsletter this month and to encourage you all to connect with us by visiting senatorchang.com, where you can register for not only the district newsletter, but every Wednesday he puts out a very informative housing newsletter as he continues to serve as chair of the housing committee. And to do a final plug, I think tomorrow we'll get bills back from the House and we'll be wrapping up the crossover process and heading into conference next week. So those of you who have issues that are near and dear to your heart or your community or your neighborhood that are taking place in the legislature, please do join the discussion. The public access room is available as a phenomenal resource to provide literacy and education and engagement, but then also our office. You all have information there. You have a mailer, you have a pamphlet. We are happy to help. So this month, pleased to announce another $1 million secured of capital improvement project resources for Hawaii's School for the Deaf and Blind, as well as $150,000 for the Mauna Lua Fish Pond Heritage Center's re-roofing project. That was announced by Governor Green. We did also, I enjoyed the conversation about the Pico Drive upgrade. That is something that Senator Chang has put a photograph and provided an update in his recent newsletter, along with other, hopefully, news you can use, resources for helping to address high electric bills. There's a $2,000 instant rebate for solar and water heating installation, and some information was provided in this month's newsletter as well from Rainwater Hawaii about getting rain barrels, a rain garden, or a tree installed for free. So if you have things that you'd like to learn more about or to help promote in these spaces, please let us know. I was wearing my House of Pure Aloha, my final purchase from the House of Pure Aloha right there in the Aina Shopping Center was a pair of earrings. And in this newsletter, you'll get to read a little bit about the moment of contemplation that Uncle Clay and Bronson Chang were able to provide when they were invited to address the Senate in that regard. And they will also be returning and receiving a resolution from Senator Chang with many other collaborative partners across the legislature who want to recognize their contributions to our community. And Senator Chang did have a chance to attend some of the final ceremonies that took place right there in the shopping center. So with that, I hope to see some of you when I come back to the board after the session. I'll be there in my personal capacity as a friend and a neighbor, but thank you all for the work that you do. And if there's ever anything that Senator Chang can do to be a resource, please do not hesitate to reach out. Again, the easiest way to get to us is by visiting senatorchang.com.
thank you, ma'am. Does anyone have questions for Senator Chang or Stephanie? Oh, Stephanie. Okay. I'm partly deaf, especially with when there's a over microphones and speakers. Does anyone have any questions for the senator? Okay. Thank you very much for coming by and letting us meet you, and we look forward to seeing you again.
All right, thank you. Take care.
You too. I'd like to now call for the representative or for the man himself, Mark Hashem.
Hi, I'm Jane. I'm here representing the Office of Representative Mark Hashem. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair.
Hi.
Hi.
What's new?
Well, repeating a lot of what Senator Chang's office just said. We are waiting for the bills to come over from the Senate. As the Waterland chairs, we have quite a few very important bills coming up. So we're looking forward to session, which will be these next 3 weeks, getting ready for that. Yeah, anybody have any questions or concerns, you can always reach us at the office by email. I'll put it in the chat. And anything else anybody would like to address to the office, let me know.
Does anyone have questions for Representative Hashem? Okay. Thank you very much for being with us, Jane, tonight.
Thank you. Yeah.
And thanks, Representative Hashem, for allowing you to join us tonight.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call on Hawaii Department of Transportation, Representative Casey Abe.
Good evening, Chair Burkett, members of the Kuli'ou'ou Kalani Iki Neighborhood Board. Casey Abe from the State DOT Highways Division. At last month's meeting, I mentioned about the damaged guardrail and treatment near the border water supply facility going eastbound on Kalani Highway right after you pass the Kaimoku place. Happy to report the entrance has been replaced. Also, at last month's meeting, I mentioned about a new homeless encampment under the damaged, under the drainage canal near Wailupi Beach Park. The homeless encampment has been removed, but I noticed an old bed mattress, so I'll be working with our maintenance crew on removing the mattress and the other trash. Also, I mentioned the damaged Hawaiian Telecom utility box. There was a safety hazard to motorists and especially bicyclists. Happy to report the utility box has been repaired. Working with our maintenance crew, they managed to address most of the graffiti that I mentioned at previous meetings. At last month's meeting, there was a concern about branches falling from the trees in the median from Wa'ar Street to East Hine Drive. I am working with our maintenance crew on scheduling the tree trimming. Also, during my field inspection, we need to cut back the overgrowth protruding onto the pedestrian sidewalk on Kaimoku Way. We also need to cut back the overgrowth at Waiholo's Place and on Kalani Highway across Wailupi Park along the bike lane. And finally, I'd like to thank Board Member Spangler for her previous assistance and would like to ask for her help again on working with the homeowners at the corner of Waikui Street and Waiele Street with trimming back their trees since they are partially blocking the pedestrian sidewalk and our bike route sign. Normally, the tree branches are trimmed high enough so they won't hit pedestrians, especially the high school students, in their face, and wide enough to clear the sidewalk to prevent any accident and future litigation against the state or the homeowners. This concludes my report. I can take any questions at this time.
Any questions for Hawaii Department of Transportation? Yes, go ahead, Sherry.
Hi, Casey, there's also a homeless camp down, I think it's Kapakahi Stream. As you're going, as you're leaving the Kohala Business District and you're coming up the, what do you call it? The freeway, highway access ramp, what do you call it? The Wiley Avenue ramp.
Okay, I'll go investigate.
Kapakahi Stream, as you come up, they're living down there in the canal underneath the bridge.
Okay.
And they've done it for years, and they even do it during the rain and all that stuff. It's not only over there by Hunakai, but it's also there at Kapakahi Stream all the time. It's the guys who sit out in front of Asagio's and sit under the viaduct and sit out at the that gas station. They go and live under the Kapakahi Stream overpass. So if you could get rid of them too, because they start filtering into the neighborhoods of Ainakoa and the golf course.
Sure.
And yes, we will get onto those trees that you talked about. So thank you, Casey.
Sure.
Any other questions for Casey? Kevin?
Hi, Casey. I want to thank you for removing the dead napaka by Hawaii Kai by the boat launch. I'd been complaining about that for a while, and now that the napaka is gone, the milo trees, the ko trees look beautiful. So thank you for getting rid of the dead native plant.
You're welcome.
Okay. Casey, thank you for keeping our side of the island as civilized as possible and suitable for vehicular and pedestrian traffic. We appreciate your efforts.
You're welcome.
I'd like to introduce Luana or Dr. Chagnon, who are going to talk to us about reimagining public safety. Are you here or online? Oh, please come on up. Oh. Yeah, where would be a good place for him to sit? I think this, if you come on the table, it would give you a platform. Sure. Oh. They're in the middle of a bunch of stuff. Which table? Oh, you want to just come here at the end of the. Just some quick changes in the agenda. The presentation on Kalani fish pond restoration will be postponed to May. And may I just make an announcement while Dr. Chagnon is signing in? Want to remind everyone that the neighborhood board elections are opening on April 25th, and everyone can vote online at the neighborhood commission office website. The candidate profiles are on there, so you can see who they are. And I mean, I hope that everyone who is currently on the board is submitted their application so that I can see you work with you again next term, but every 2 years. Oh, you submitted already. Yeah, good. No, we're not going to vote on officially. Oh. Are you ready?
I have the presentation on a jump drive, or I could just. Yeah, like screen is locked on the web.
Oh, it's web.
And you.
So I have it on email, I have it on this jump drive. No, it's to it. I could email it.
Different ports. Yeah.
Should I mail it to you, Chair Burkert, or?
Not to her, because she's gonna put it on.
There's a, sorry.
Okay. Oh, wait, there we go.
You can look it up.
We have it.
have the necessary. Not everything, but reading the red.
We hope.
They don't have the, like.
USB-C documentation.
I don't know, I have. Oh,
Yes.
USB-C.
Oh.
And then all kinds of.
I don't. Don't get it here.
Now he's not even here.
I give gas. Can't even understand.
Yeah.
It's a foreign language.
That's just like this. That's what somebody asked me for a USB-C. Yes, email,
I'm glad you're hosting them.
CL. Yeah.
I mean, put in your comments and say, I have to clear a screen bag. Maybe I'll bring the tree cutting bag on.
Yeah.
Not like, let me run into a tree and that make it work.
The power of this.
And that's a big tree.
Yeah.
And there's.
He looks at a house. Really get it. It goes right along with that. Everything's free done. And my husband was like, there's no, they're right there. And it was right.
See, look at-
Right inside.
Right, yeah.
Well, we can study these things. And
What's the name? What's your name? You got it? Yeah.
you know, you're gonna.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, I found it like I got back to my 4 years or 2 years.
That was before.
And you're not figuring out. If you know, everything with Adobe recently, we're looking at it.
Don't got to love it.
I ran into the same issue. You never said anything.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
It's raining hard. Stand there down. That's where all the bridges are.
So you just gotta go share, make like share on your, screen.
I was home. Cannabis. The 20. They put rocks. I was checking.
Hey, do the same thing when the guy comes on your tour.
Yeah. Greg, hold your, you have to hide a few plants, but I got them in the back.
Sharing your screen.
What's spelling?
There, I see it.
That's not the one that you're sharing. You're sharing your web, stop sharing.
I did, volunteer.
It might depend how big the nose is.
His house.
Every couple of years.
Mark said he was gonna come. He'd have. Oh, he did.
So we got more.
Like, oh.
Actually, I give this guy credit. He's fire.
Yeah. Annie Stumps.
Yep.
But he's doing this 2 years. You forget this library was closed.
I remember coming down. There. Yeah.
We met
Oh,
like up there. Soil.
You know, sometimes I would always ask, the question would always be, can you have more than that? Dude, I mean, that, when you put it in that perspective, Jim, you know, what is litigation? A little bit.
Houses on the east side. On the still it's still not like that. I mean, they have. And it's really where, still not. I have no problem.
Right. So we're ready to roll. All right, good to go. That's right, teamwork.
Okay, aloha everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Nick Shagnon. I'm a professor of sociology at UH West Oahu. I live in Kuli'ou'ou. I also work with a group called Reimagining Public Safety in Hawaii. Next slide, please. So I had proposed a 15-minute presentation, but I know I've been given 5 minutes on the agenda, so I'll make it quick. Our group consists of different community organizations as well as individual members, mostly organizations that have experience and expertise on things like crime, disorder, homelessness, economic insecurity, stuff like that. And our basic mission is to try to kind of bring an alternative understanding to issues of public safety that look at things that are often treated as criminal justice from a public health lens. Next slide, please. So the main thing that we're trying to engage here is widespread perception that crime is increasing or out of control. If you talk to HPD or something like that, official statistics will suggest that crime is not on the rise. On the other hand, I think that there's widespread feelings that the statistics are misleading or that there's more to the picture than that, right? And regardless of what the kind of how we're going to look at that reality, the fact is that people feel fearful and insecure in their communities. And so our kind of starting point is to validate that and acknowledge that and to try to figure out how to move forward in a way that is more successful than what we've done previously. Next slide, please. So a lot of what we see on the streets that are understood as criminal problems can also alternatively be understood as part of a public health crisis. Things like homelessness, mental health issues, substance dependency, right? Those things have a lot of those issues are rooted in public health. Next slide. And so, like underlying this, there are a couple of kind of key structural causes that are important to understand. One is the crisis of livability, of affordability in our community. It's extremely unaffordable, particularly for young working families and things like that. In addition to that, we have issues with substance dependency and mental health problems that are definitely increasing and that we're struggling to deal with. Next slide, please. So just to put a fine point on it, right? Like if we look at kind of some of the financial statistics, a six-figure income for a family of four is a must just to meet basic expenses today, right? In nearly half, about 41% of families in this state can't meet those basic expenses. And of course, this is not evenly spread out. There are some groups that are feeling that pinch more severely, particularly Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders. Next slide, please. So ultimately, what we're doing in a lot of cases is that we're jailing people for being poor, for having mental health issues, for having substance dependency issues. And so when we look at who's in OCCC, 40% of these people are houseless, right? And there's a lot of overlap, a lot of intersection with mental health and substance use issues. Next slide, please. And also, it's important to understand what jails do, right? That term legally innocent can be a little bit, I don't know, it might be a little confusing, but really what it means is that jails are there for pretrial detention primarily. Most of the people who are in OCCC are there. They have not yet been convicted of a crime. They're not serving out a punishment. They haven't been deemed to be an imminent threat to the public. What's really going on is they can't afford bail. And often bail can be really small. Sometimes bail as low as $50 is why somebody is stuck in OCCC. Next slide, please. So what it looks like in our communities is that when there's a problem, we generally call the police. And that's understandable. But the issue is that police can be counterproductive in a lot of situations. In particular, when you have somebody in a mental health crisis, a person with a badge and a gun can escalate the situation just by their mere presence, right? It's not necessarily how an individual officer deals with the situation, but the fact that these are traumatized people, and often they've been traumatized at the hands of authorities previously. Next slide, please. And I'll kind of speed up here, but you know, what's going on here, sometimes this is lethal violence, right? There's a misunderstanding of certain behaviors are seen as threatening, and that can lead to an altercation with police officers that can end in somebody dying. Next. We can skip over this real quick. So, you know, there's a lot of active criticism of the criminal justice system in our society today. But underlying that, people generally still support the police, right? But the support for police tends to have a specific character, which is that most people want the police there to address serious and violent crime. But that is not all that police do. And in fact, in practice, that's often a minority of what police are being called out to do, right? We had the representative from HPD here earlier, and he talked about, what was it, 6,000 total calls for service, right, in the month. And I heard a lot of people go, right? Most of those are non-criminal events. And so the kind of conclusion that we've come to, that a lot of people have come to, is that police are being asked to do too much, right? They have an enormous burden. And a lot of the things that that burden consists of are not necessarily things that require a badge and a gun. Next slide. And so, yeah, just, you know, to kind of put a finer point on this, right? Like only about 4% of 911 calls involve violent crime. And when we look at how HPD is doing, they're struggling to clear cases, to solve cases of serious violence and serious crime. And why? Because they're being asked to do too much. Next slide, please. So ultimately, the way I look at it is, you know, we're kind of not matching the tools that we're applying to the problems. I think about, like, I have a cracked pane of glass and a jealousy in my bathroom. And I think about, like, if I went in with a hammer to try to fix it, right? That wouldn't fix the window, and it caused more problems, right? And we have more tools than the hammer in kind of the toolkit of government, as you know. Next slide, please. So our answer is we should probably critically rethink what it means to achieve public safety in our community. Next slide, please. So this is what we have currently, right? The police are shouldering this enormous burden. And next slide. And what we envision is an alternative approach in which we're making use of all of the different tools that are available to us. Things like affordable housing programs, fully funded, fully implemented mental health infrastructure services, jobs programs, more substance treatment type of stuff. Next slide, please. And you know, our suggestions here are not based on mere speculation, right? There's an enormous amount of evidence that suggests that there are alternative approaches that are more cost effective and are more effective in terms of promoting overall community wellness, right? Rather than just crime reductions, we're talking about healing the community and making everybody more stable, feel more secure, more safe. Next slide. Can you, we can go through this. We can skip over this slide. So just to kind of put a finer point on the cost thing, right? It costs $112,000 to put somebody in jail for the year. To put them in permanent supportive housing, which is generally a more effective measure, it costs $30,000 a year. So we're talking about doing things better and also doing them cheaper. Next slide, please. Can you advance? Sorry, just keep hitting it. So I can talk more about specific specific programs that we want to use, but things like crisis responder models, having drug treatment and supportive housing fully funded and fully available on all islands, right? There are a number of different concrete suggestions that we have to try to better address the need for public safety. So that's our elevator speech, just kind of truncated a little bit. But if you want to know more or if you want to get involved, we have our Instagram, Facebook accounts. We have an email. Please contact us, and I'd love to take any questions that you might have. And I thank you very much for your time. I know everybody's probably pretty tired by now.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Chagnon. Wait, it really puts a different view on what we're seeing in terms of homelessness and crime. Does anyone have? Yes, we have a question for you from Kalani Sonoda Pali.
I don't really have a question, but I do agree with everything you just said. It's like the discussion we had earlier about moving the houseless. Like they're actually human beings, they're people. You know, somebody's son or daughter, somebody's aunt or uncle, somebody's cousin. These are people. So when we say we're gonna clear them out, they're gonna go somewhere else. And all we're doing is moving them around. And you're correct in saying the mental health services, ever since they shut down that like there was a big one. I think it was Kahimohala. Was it Kahimo? No. There was a big one in Pro City that they shut down. And that mental health care facility. So I mean, we got less mental health care treatment facilities now than ever before, you know. So I just think I like where this is going, and I thank you for this is the correct community to be bringing this to, because the number of calls to the police just gets higher and higher and higher and higher. At one point, we have to say, well, you know what? I'm part of this community, so like, and I'm not saying that the issue with Wailupe Stream isn't important, but like, my God, do you have a chainsaw? Cut the tree down, or like, you know, and that's what we've done. We've actually gone into the county lands ourselves before summer last year, and we cleared out all the dry brush. Nobody asked us to do it. Nobody said, please go do it, because it's part of keeping our community safe. We went into the dry brush and cleaned out all the stuff because we knew that that was a fire hazard. And so like, so at one point, we just can't depend on the county to do everything for us. You know, there's a certain point where you have to take ownership and just say, I'm part of this community. And like, ask the question, like, where are these houseless going? Did anybody call social services when they were moved? So like, I think what you're talking about is reimagining, like re-looking at how we are living. This is unsustainable. By next year, the number of calls to the police will be 10,000 a month. And that nothing's going to change. Do you think that's going to make our community safer? No, it's not. We even passed a resol saying we support hiring more police. But you know, that's all not going to change. It's only going to heighten because systemically nothing has changed. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for that comment. And I just want to respond by pointing out that part of what we're trying to do is like that reimagining process is trying to cultivate an understanding that all of our wellness and security is interconnected. I'm sure you all understand that as members of the neighborhood board, but I think that that kind of has to be our starting point for understanding public safety. And we tend to kind of shy away from that awareness, I think, a little bit.
We need another number beside 911, another resource when we see somebody who with mental health or housing issues. Oh, okay, 988. Okay. We thank you for coming tonight and sharing that with you. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
So where do you stand right now in implementing these ideas? Are we in the beginning stages? Have we made some progress? Where are we?
That's a good question. So, couple things we might point out, right? We have the Kalani program where that's what we're talking about in terms of supportive housing, permanent supportive housing, right? You put people in a place where they have help and they have somebody watching over them at all times. And those are the types of services that a lot of people need to kind of to ease the crisis that they're in and to be able to kind of extricate themselves and put themselves on a better trajectory, right? Also, we also have a program called CORE, which is a crisis responder program, right? And the idea of crisis response is that there are a lot of situations in which, you or I might find it to be a threatening situation, right? Somebody's out on the sidewalk screaming, talking to themselves or something like that. And we probably shouldn't, approach that situation. But again, police are not necessarily the best equipped to do that. And so we have mental health professionals who are trained in de-escalation and crisis intervention and stuff. And they are able to talk to that person and try to direct them to services or even just chill them out, calm them down and stuff like that. CORE as it stands now, I would argue is not being properly implemented, but I guess if you're asking about progress, at least we're starting, right? And we need to expand the program and we need to properly implement it so that it's 24 hours a day, that they're being sent there, right? And that we have a kind of adequate system of triage so that when it's something that does not require the police don't have to go out and we can use our crisis responders in a productive manner.
And who reaches out to CORE?
So you can in theory, it should go through 911, right? If you want to understand like some of the examples, there's a program called Cahoots in Eugene, Oregon, which is the oldest crisis response program in the nation. Very, very successful in both kind of keeping everybody safe and reducing the burden on police. Seattle, the name of the program that is escaping me right now, but they have a really good program as well that you can find information on, and it really gives you a lot of detail on that. Yeah.
I visited the crisis center in Evilay, and they gave me these cards, and there's some on the table there for 988. Are you not working with those people?
No, so this is a volunteer organization that I'm working with.
Okay.
I'm a criminologist and I have
Okay.
an active.
All right. So there, we do have some resources in the community, and we need more for sure. But I brought these tonight. It's 988. It's the suicide and crisis line but it's for specifically for severely mentally ill, just the people you were talking about, the ones ranting on the side of the road, wearing no clothes and defecating. It's like, you're right. That isn't a police problem. It's a different kind of problem. So
I've got a question. You have no first responders. You're not working with the first responders. And my question would be, have you invited them?
So we reached out to some first responders, right? Some of my colleagues do work with CORE and do work with the drop-off centers and stuff like that. I personally don't. I'm a professor at UH Watsonville. I'm a sociologist. I found that, my role in this is just trying to bring this message to the neighborhood boards and start a constructive conversation. So yeah,
Well, the reason I ask is this, okay, I retired from the police department.
Mhm.
If I knew of an organization where I could punt some of this stuff, I'd be the first guy punting.
Yeah.
Really and truly.
Yeah, no, I a couple months ago, I went to the Kapolei station to talk to the command staff there, and that's precisely what they told me. They said, we don't want to do this. But we can't set this up on our own, right? We need the community to step in, and we need community partners that can take over some of the stuff. And so, yeah.
Have any of your people that went out to help get hurt or beat up or shot?
It's very, very rare. Almost never. It does. I mean, obviously, there's danger in anything, right? You go walking down the sidewalk, you get hit by a car, but no, it's not a common event. It's not a common concern. These are people who are very highly trained, right? And often, a lot of times, things look a lot more threatening than they are, right? And particularly if one has the expertise to deal with a difficult situation. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm not suggesting, just Joe off the street just cruises in and solves all the problems, right? These are people who have a very specific and highly developed skill set.
I wish you need to publicize more what the public can do when they're confronted with situations, because we don't want to call the police, but the police is the only resource there is. I know that we grew up here, as I've said before, pre-statehood, and my brothers were very well known and popular, and Aina Haina was where we played as kids, because that's where all the kids were. They were in Aina Haina. And I know that our house was like a halfway house. Everybody ended up there. And we had friends who ended up, they went to Kalani or Roosevelt or Punahou. Some of them ended up dying in the bushes because they were homeless. But they used to come to our house for help. My point is, like, when we work in film 20 hours a day and we're out in Waianae Coast, we start out with the kids and the people kind of live on the beach. They're sweet, they're friendly, they're nice. We're giving them food, we're chatting, we're talking. As the day goes on, they all change. They start getting whacked out. They start getting weird. Then they start getting dangerous. What do you do? And we have these beautiful feelings for people, but what do? You got a job to do, or you want to be safe, and this guy's whacking out because he needs drugs. So my concept is somehow you got to find a way to keep them in school, because if they're not going to be in school, then they're going to be out and getting in trouble, and then they have no future. And then the people I knew, some of them chose drugs and alcohol, and they died for it. So there has to be a situation whereby we don't pay the price for that we don't have to. I still bear the burden, and my family does, thinking, how can we help that person? Could we have helped them more before they kill themselves and ended up dying in a bush?
So
you have to let us know what the resources are. We won't call the police, but there's got to be another way. Otherwise, we are going to call the police. But we don't have time anymore, and the heart is burdened to try and help those people.
Yeah, definitely appreciate your comment. And it's a good reminder that I kind of skipped over an important part. We have a budgetary recommendation report that we published. I have some hard copies that I can share. One of the recommendations is that we need to fully fund out of school time programs for youth. Because like you said, when kids are unsupervised, they don't have anything to do. And I mean like after school and stuff. Yeah. Indeed. And another recommendation that we need is that we need more counselors in schools. We need more resources to keep students in school, to make sure that all of their needs are met in school, right? Because I mean, at least in my experience, the reason why people leave school is that when they feel unwelcome there, they feel like they're unsupported there, or they're struggling terribly. Okay.
Dr. Chagnon, you've started a great, a lot of thinking and discussion, and we really would like to hear more about what resources we have and who we can contact. So, please continue with your work, and you're doing something that is very important to the entire community, and we thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I'll put the budget report on the table over there for anybody who wants to take a look.
Just two questions. So did you do this presentation to like politicians? And the second thing is, how can we support this project? Like, do we need to write a reso, or their project that they're doing? It's just starting out. I mean, because everything starts out as an idea, and this conversation needs to continue happening.
A conversation about a resolution would be most appreciated. I could come back and we could kind of talk.
You guys, do you have something like a draft resolution that other?
We do not right now, as far as I know.
Okay.
I can get back to you. In addition to that, we're trying to reach out as widely as possible. Neighborhood boards are one thing. We're trying to find as many spaces where community actually exists to talk to people. And our efforts are, this is in its infancy, right? We're just trying to get the ball rolling. But I will definitely bring up the idea of resolutions, and I'll get back to you. I appreciate that very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again.
So closing announcements, we will have our next meeting in May, on May 7th. And keep in mind that Mayor Blangiardi's town hall is, well, it's after our next meeting. So neighborhood board elections are coming up. Please vote. And for those races that are contested, and I look forward to seeing everyone in a month. And thank you for to everyone who's participated tonight. Okay. The neighborhood board meeting is now over.